And I should start with introducing myself, which I did not do. I'm Linda Daly, and I'm an AT specialist with the Special Education Technology Center. And the reason that I always get to do the math ones is that was actually my degree is math. So that is why I get to do all of our math webinars. So when we're looking at this, we're really looking at it from the universal design for learning and inclusion. So when we're looking at the three principles of universal design with the engagement and the representation and the action and expression, I think that EquatIO is really good for all of this because it gives you multiple ways that you can do each of these. And I'm hoping that you'll see that. That's part of what I'm hoping you'll see as I do present this. And I'm going to interrupt myself for just a second. Andrea, thank you. It looks like you have started the recording. Is that correct?
Yeah, I started it right
Okay,
before
great.
you did your introduction.
Okay, great. Thank you, because I forgot. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is I just want to talk about the features, and then we're actually going to go out and look at some of them. So EquatIO allows you to enter math in multiple ways. It has handwriting recognition as well as speech recognition. It does equation prediction, which I'll show you. So we've heard of word prediction, but this does equation prediction. They have tools for both science and math, and if you haven't seen it in a while, they have beefed up their science tools. So that'll be fun to show you. And then it works with Microsoft Word, both on Windows and Mac devices. And it works on Google Docs. And if you get the premium version, it works on sheets, slides, forms, and drawings. So the free version works on Docs, but if you do upgrade to the premium version, you get it for all. It will work for all those different G Suite tools. And then it has an open working space that they call Math Space that I'll show you. And then they have mobile math, which allows you to take pictures of math or do math on your phone or tablet and then actually insert it into a document on a desktop. Or when I say a desktop, I mean, a laptop, but on an actual computer like that. And then I'm going to show you their screenshot reader, which if you have Read&Write for Google, you also have the screenshot reader, which makes any website then totally accessible for math through that screenshot reader through EquatIO. So, and then I also just want you to have links to 2 other videos that TextHelp, who makes EquatIO, has put out. And one of them is how you can do textbook conversions for accessibility. This makes it easier. And then an hour long about an introduction and an implementation ideas by teachers that I thought were just really excellent. So I wanted you to have the links to those. So I have shared those with you. But for our purposes, we are going to go ahead and I am going to just start showing you the just how the basics of how it works. So I am actually going to go out to the web where I have this pulled up. So as I said, you can use it in a Google Doc. And I'm going to move past all of this. I just have a sheet that I pull things up that I can do things on. So I'm just going to move past those, or some of the ones that I've done with this. But I just have a Google Doc here. And when I want to use EquatIO, in my upper right-hand corner, you'll see a little blue diamond, and you're just going to click that, and it will pull up EquatIO. So here's EquatIO. If you're on Microsoft Word, you can also pull up EquatIO, and it will come at the bottom of your document like this. So it looks very similar in Word. So here are the input options that I was telling you about. You have an equation editor, you have a graph editor, you can do handwriting recognition, speech input. This is where your input is through a mobile device. And then this is MathSpace, which we'll get into a little bit more later. And then your screenshot reader and your STEM tools. So I'm just going to briefly show you how these work. And this will be where we're getting into that overview. And please feel free to put it in the chat or just even interrupt me if there's something you want to see. So when you click your equation editor, it actually shows up as a window here. You can move this window up and down if you need to. And then you're going to start typing. So I'm just going to type a simple equation. I'm just going to type x squared. And so if you type x squared, typically we would have done x, and then we would do the shift 6 to make it go to a squared. And that's what we would have seen in the past. But with EquatIO, we can type x and then SQ, and it pulls up our choices for what maybe we want to do with SQ. So I can say x squared, and then I can say plus 4 equals 13. And so then we can just go ahead and do enter. And at this point, we now have multi-lines going. And so EquatIO is thinking, okay, you're solving an equation. Do you want to line those up? Do you want to line them on the left? Do you want to line them on the center? Or do you want to line them on the right? And then you can align them with as a relationship. So sometimes it's easier to do the center, which just starts from the center. And so then I'm just going to say x, and then squared equals 13 minus 4. And then I can say, I can take the square root of both sides, but let's go ahead and first do x squared equals 9. And then we're going to take the square root of both sides. So we're going to do SQ again. And this time we're going to do square root. And then I can put that x squared in that. And so square root of x squared. And then I do need to get out from under that square root sign. So I just use the right arrow key and it takes me out from under that. And then I can go to the square root of 9. And then I'm just typing enter and to get to the next line. And then I can say x equals 3. So and so I've solved my equation. And so now what I'm going to do is insert the math. So I'm going to insert it. And it does, I'm going to just close this so you can see. You saw me move down the line, and I was actually, my cursor was right below the graph on here. So it's going to enter that math wherever my cursor was. So now you see that I have all of that math that I just entered right here. And so really I could do that equation pretty similarly to the way I could do it on a piece of paper. And so that was just using the equation editor. I do want to show you that with the equation editor, you also could enter text that will go in as text. You could change the color of your text. You could add things to your favorites. You could clear this whole text box, or you could add some formulas. So all of those things are available to you on that. The other thing, I am going to actually clear it right now because I just want you to see, because I told you about the science features, you can use that equation prediction to get full equations, math equations, or you could actually get some chemistry formulas. And my favorite one to do is PY. And okay, what you just saw, you heard me clicking, nothing happened. That is because you might notice there's no blue line around here. That means I'm not actually in my equation editor. I'm up here. And so I need to click again on the start typing. And then my blue line comes and you can see that now I can start typing. So I'm going to type PY. So if I want the chemistry, I can do pyrosulfuric acid, or I can do the Pythagorean theorem, and it will just enter that Pythagorean theorem right there. So you can do that with, all kinds of math formulas, and then all kinds of science. So At this point, I'm going to stop and say, does anybody have any questions about how you can enter things using the equation editor? Okay, I'm not seeing any chat and I'm not hearing anything. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on. And so I'm just going to, I'm actually just going to clear this out. And I'm going to come down here to the graph editor. What this is, you may have seen that it said activating Desmos. And so this is just the Desmos graphing application. And in this case is where you might really want to make your input screen a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to do something simple for the purposes of demonstration. I'm just going to do the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. And so we can just add the slider and we'll just let it be 1 and we'll just add 1 there so that we just get a straight, you know, the equation of the line. And then we've put it on a graph. And so right here it says I can insert the graph. I could come over here and make some more changes to my graph, but because we're just giving you an overview, I'm just going to go ahead and insert the graph and you will see that show up. And it does, you will see some of the screen like you're seeing on mine, but it can go a little faster sometimes. I'm doing a lot right now with my internet, with doing the Zoom and actually doing the graph, you know, using EquatIO. Now you can see that this graph went right above the numbers I entered. And that's because I had put my cursor in my document between my graph and these numbers. So that's something I think is worth mentioning, that your student needs to be aware that wherever their cursor is on their document, that's where their math is going to be inserted. So I just think that's worth mentioning because it can be confusing, like why did it go there? The other thing though is it can always be moved. It's actually an image, so you can move it around if you need to. So and I'm going to get to, I'm sure I'm going to get to the move it spot, but oh, it's because I have no place else in this document. So it's just the way this document's working, but you can move it around if you need to. So you could copy and paste it and that kind of thing. So, and you can see that you have your wrap text and some of your, the same kinds of formatting options that you have that come through Docs. So through the Google Docs. So, but it is an image, so you can move it as an image can be moved around. So, but it will go wherever you have put your cursor. And then I'm just going to quickly go through some of these other ones. Handwriting recognition is exactly what it sounds like. You can, I'm using my mouse and you can, you know, enter it with a mouse. If you have a trackpad, you could enter it. You could see it on the right, what it was looking like, and then it will again insert that math. So that's handwriting recognition if that's going to be helpful to your student or to you as you're entering it. So this is helpful for teachers who are creating assignments, but it's also helpful for students who are completing their assignments. And then you can also do, I'm going to clear this again. You can also do speech input. And the thing about speech input is it will only take the words that are related to math. So if your students have a habit of talking to themselves, which I actually do, it will only take the words that are math. So I'm just going to demonstrate that really quickly. Johnny had 3 bags of apples. He had another bag with 2 apples. How many apples did he have altogether? And so you can see 3 and 2 were there. And then when I said 3 and, the plus shows there. So that's not the best use for your student, but I wanted you to see that only math was going to be entered. So 3x plus 2 equals 13. So then you can see you can add that. And so yeah, and then you can insert that into your document. So that's how the speech input works. I'm actually going to show you how EquatIO Mobile works because there is a great video that TextHelp has created to show it. And I want for one thing, EquatIO stays on script, and I know it will be 2.5 minutes long, but also I want you to see the great videos they've created for you. So before I go on to that, does anybody have any questions about the first 4 ways you can add math? And does anybody want to share how they think that they could maybe use that with a student? I would love if you have some ideas. And it's a quiet group today. So one of the things that I really like is that you can do multi-lines of math. That's one of the things that's always been hard with digital math, is being able to do it one line after another. And so that's one of the things that EquatIO really worked hard on in the beginning, and they listened to people, and that was one of the things they added. And the fact that you can change your alignment so students can see it lined up with their equals lined up in the middle. So I just think it's great that students have that option to be able to do that. And then if keyboarding's tough, they can actually use or speech recognition and actually speak their math. So I think that's really helpful too. So, okay, so if nobody has any questions, I'm going to go ahead and look at the EquatIO mobile so that you can see how you could actually insert math from a mobile device. And so TextHelp has created great, short, succinct videos that show you how you can use different features in EquatIO. So that's one of the things I think is really helpful, and I give you a link to their YouTube channel for this. But I'm going to go ahead and show you one of those. And so we'll just... EquatIO mobile lets you use your phone or tablet. Okay, so will you let me know if you can see that, hear that? Because sometimes I know you can't. So can you give me a thumbs up or tell me if you're not hearing it? So, just a second. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. I will keep playing it then. Add handwritten math, images, and more into your G Suite apps and EquatIO Math Space. It's a mobile companion to EquatIO on your Chromebook or computer. To get started, go to m.equat.io on your phone or tablet. Make sure you're in Safari on an iOS device and Chrome on an Android device. Once you're signed in, you'll be taken to your active documents screen. EquatIO Mobile will find the G Suite apps and math spaces that you have open with EquatIO on your computer or Chromebook. The list will automatically update. Choose a math space or document to start inserting some math. To handwrite math right on your phone, choose Draw Math. When you're done, tap the check mark. You can convert your handwritten math to typed math by choosing Save as Math. Then tap the blue Insert button to add it to your document. You'll see your math instantly added to the math space on your computer or Chromebook. You can also insert your handwritten math as is by choosing Save as Image. This is great for students who may not have a touchscreen device on their desk, but they've got a tablet or have a phone in their pocket. The Record feature lets you dictate math into your microphone. X equals 60 degrees. Tap the check mark to convert to math. And tap the Insert button to add to your document. The Math Image feature lets you snap a photo of some math, like a worksheet or a problem you solved by hand. Tap the check mark to convert it to math. And tap Insert to add to your document. You can also take a photo and add it directly. In addition to the EquatIO Math Space, you
You can also use EquatIO Mobile to insert math right into G Suite. On your active documents screen, you'll see your G Suite files that you have open on your computer or Chromebook with EquatIO. You can use the same features here to insert into places like Google Docs. Google Forms, or Google Slides. To learn more about EquatIO, subscribe to our YouTube channel or visit the link below.
So I thought that that was a really good explanation, and they have lots of videos like that. I'm actually going to be showing you some more of their videos, but I just think it's really helpful. You can look at one feature. I have a really good question. How neatly written does the student's handwriting need to be for the Convert to Math feature to accurately recognize it? That actually is, it actually can take pretty sloppy handwriting, but it still needs to be legible enough that it can figure out what it's going to be. I don't know if you noticed when I was doing it, it initially thought my 4 was, I think, an L, and then it corrected it. So it will take some sloppy handwriting, but it does have to be decently formed. However, it's really easy to go back and edit it once you've put it in there. So once it's back, I'm just going to go back to the document, and once it's in here, you can always bring it back into the equation editor and edit it and make it correct. Or I think, I'm trying to remember, it's an image, but there's a way you can actually bring it in here and put it back down here, and you can fix it. So, but I'm not sure you can do it with mobile. And so when you're doing it with the input, you can correct it then. And so with the mobile, you might lose that little piece of it. But in this kind of input, it actually will let you correct it before you put it over. Does that answer your question okay? And I'm trying to remember, I'm actually gonna pull up, let me pull up my iPad. I'm just gonna pull it up right here. And I actually had that on. And so you can actually see on my iPad, it shows me the active documents I have. So I am going to do I'm gonna do a handwriting, and I'm gonna see how sloppy I can make it. And then, so I made it, instead of a plus, I kind of made it a T, and we're just going to try that right here. So then once I put it on there, I don't know if you can see that with my light. So let me see. Then my light makes it kind of hard, but I'm going to say yes. And then I'm going to say save as math. And then it puts it on here, and it took it as a T, but then, yeah, and it doesn't let me correct it on here. So if you're using on the mobile, it's going to be hard to correct it. But if you're doing it on the actual Chromebook or on your Google Doc, then it's really easy to correct it because you just correct it right here. If I just clear this out, I'll show you. Handwriting, and then I'm going to do my handwriting right here and just see if it'll do the same thing. And then I can come over here and correct it. Do you see that? So I was trying to do 3 plus 2. So mobile, nope, you can't really do it, but on the actual doc you can. So I hope that answered the question okay. So, okay, great. Okay, okay, but I have some ideas for the mobile, but if anybody has any ideas, tell me what you think of the mobile. I'd love some of that feedback on what you think of the mobile and why you're doing that. I just want to show you that I actually came up earlier and I took a math worksheet and actually just brought the whole thing in. And so then you could bring it in here. And if you wanted to, you know, answer the questions beside it, you could do that. I'm actually going to show you on a worksheet how you can use the screenshot reader to take the math and do it a little easier with it. But for right now, I just want to show you how you could bring the whole worksheet in, or if, I don't know if you noticed, this is question number 12, 3 paren 1 plus p n paren equals minus 5 and then p plus 1. So what I did was I concentrated on these 3 and then I saved them as math. So here was the big document I brought in. And then here is questions like 12, 13, 14, and 15 that I was able to bring in as math. And so you could see how it comes in 2 different ways. So, and I did that bringing it in with my iPad. So, okay. So any questions on EquatIO Mobile? There's nobody in the chat. Nobody wanted to share how they might use it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to go to is MathSpace. So I'm going to show you how MathSpace works. And I actually, I have this up. So if you go to MathSpace, it's going to actually pull up, okay, I pulled it up earlier thinking I might be able to, but apparently it timed out. So I need to pull it up again, and that's okay because now you'll see how it works when it comes up. So I have that active document. I can insert my math into that active document from MathSpace. MathSpace is an interactive space where your students can do math and you can do math, and you can actually share it with them and you can do it interactively together. So I am going to just show you again that you have, you know, your equation editor. I forgot to mention the LaTeX editor. I'm sorry about that. That is if you want to enter math in the form that it would be entered for, like textbook writers have to do that so that it can go into be printed correctly. So, and that would be for your upper division students who really might need to do some really intense math. It's going to be a lot faster than to do the LaTeX editor. So, and that just, again, it looks like if you start typing math here, you're just going to say 3 squared plus 4. And you can see that that does put in that little up caret. So that's the LaTeX version. So I just wanted to quickly mention that. That's another way you can enter things. But you can do your graphing, you can do your handwriting recognition, you can do the speech input, the mobile. This is your selection tool where, as you know, you have to be able to just move around and select things without acting on the space. And that's why you need that tool, is it will stop doing whatever the tool is. And I'll show you that in a minute. It makes more sense. So this is, again, another freehand that you can draw things here, or you could, you know, draw a picture if you need to have, you know, a climber going up the mountain because you have a word problem, you know, and he's going up the mountain and now he needs to go up here, and you want to put those kind of things. So you want to draw out your problem. That's what that freehand tool is for. You can bring in all kinds of shapes. You could bring in circles. And this is where this select tool comes in, because if you don't go to the select tool, you will keep drawing circles and you will just draw circles everywhere you go. So, and so this is nice. It actually goes back to the select tool so that you don't end up with circles all over. And for those of you who have used other digital math, you'll know that that can actually be a problem. So, but there are all kinds of tools. There's the path tool, like I said, for when you're doing word problems and you want to have a path. But there are all kinds of tools here. And one of the ones I wanted to show you was coins, because money is one of those things that digital math, a lot of times we get questions about that. And so they all come in together, but if you click off of them and then click on one, you would be able to pull like the dollar apart and the 20, the quarter apart. It also will speak for you and tell you what you have selected.
Quarter.
So it says quarter. You can change the label as the teacher, or if your student needs to, you can change the label. You could make a copy of this, and it's going to be easier to do it up here, and then you can just paste it. Whoops, made a copy. And then you can paste it also. So just a second, there we go, paste it. Okay, so you can do all kinds of things with this. I am going to show you another YouTube video that TextHelp has created that talks about how you can use MathSpace. And I'm going to show how this is a way you can use it with a tablet and use EquatIO. So EquatIO is made so that it works on Chromebook or MacBook or a Windows device if you pull up the document and get the EquatIO. But if you want to use it on a mobile device, you can go out to MathSpace and use it. So this is going to show you a little bit more about MathSpace, but also show you how you can use it on that mobile device. So
EquatIO can be used on an iPad or tablet by using the Safari, Chrome, or Firefox browser. In the browser of choice, type in equatio.texthelp.com. If this is your first time visiting, you will be asked to choose an authentication method. Once your dashboard loads, you can create new spaces for students to complete or choose an existing space to share. Select an assignment, then select the Share button. Click the drop-down arrow, then select Make a Copy and expect a response. Click on the Continue button, copy the link or share through Google Classroom. We are now going to take a look at the MathSpace experience from the student perspective. Once the student opens the MathSpace, they can complete the math or STEM activities that they have been assigned. Now, the activity has been completed by the student. They will see a Submit button in the upper right corner, whereas the teacher had a Share button. You will receive an acknowledgement that the assignment has been submitted. Let us now transition back to the teacher dashboard to locate student submissions. Teachers will select the Assignments tab on the left-hand margin. Here are assignments that have been recently shared with others. Select the assignment. You may then select any student submission to enter the feedback and scoring window. On the right-hand side, you will see our Rapid Reviewer, where you can enter a score if you like, provide feedback, or return the assignment. When done, select the Send Feedback button. How do students locate their feedback? Let us return to the student dashboard to see. Students will need to click on the Submitted Assignments button. Select the assignment. The student will see the Rapid Reviewer with the score and feedback given if it was left by the teacher or instructor. To learn more about EquatIO, please visit TextHelp.com.
Whoops. So I thought that was helpful because you could see both the student and the teacher side of it. You could see how many things you could actually do with MathShare. So I just thought that was a really helpful video. And then you could also see how the teacher can interact with it. And so, again, does anybody have any questions? Whoops, sorry about that. Not sure what. So does anybody have any questions about that? Does anybody want to see anything else in MathShare? Do you have any ideas you want to share with people, how you've used it or how you might want to use it? Okay, so again, it's a quiet group, but I thought that video was really helpful to see both sides of it. So I do want to, I'm going to go back to my document because I just kind of want you to not have all of the math space things behind it. But I'm going to skip the screenshot reader for now. We're going to come back to that. But I do want to show you the STEM tools. And you might have noticed those were on the math space, and they're also on the document. So you can do it in both places. But these are your STEM tools, and there's a periodic table, and you can click on any element and it will give you a picture of the element. It will tell you about the element, gives you all of its, the atomic number, the mass, all the kinds of things you need for your chemistry. And then it also gives you, a written perspective on it. And then if you, if you need to have that read to the student, you can highlight it and you can use, one of your options to read it. I think that's just a great tool for students. Okay, the science person in me also really like this too. So you have the periodic table available to you. And then also in here, you have a scientific calculator. So right there on the space, you can have that. So you can either, enter that into your math space, or you can enter it right into your document. And that's a nice feature. And then this I thought was super cool. It's a molecular viewer. So you can either put the name in and search for it. So I'm going to search for water. And then we get all kinds of things. We get water, we get a watermelon ketone, water, water glass, water density 1, density 2. I think that's what the D means. It's been a long time since I've had chemistry. So, but I'm just going to do water because we all know it's H2O. And so there we have it as a ball and stick. We can look at it as lines. We can look at it as the crosshatch. We can look at it as that kind of a stick. We can look at it as a sphere. And then I really haven't found one that cartoon works for. So I've just, played with it to see, but most of the time cartoon says not available for the current structure. So, but you can put in the chemical ID, and I can't remember what PDP stands for, but it's another chemical notation for how we find things. So you can put it in that way. But it's, to me, the name's pretty simple. And if we go back to water, the watermelon ketone is a pretty complicated molecular structure. So I thought that was kind of nice too, to see. So I really like this so that students can see these kind of things. They can rotate them and look at them that way, and rotate them on the Z-axis. So the X, the Y, and the Z-axis, they can move them up, they can move them down, they can move them sideways, they can zoom in. So for science, I thought that was a really cool option, that you can actually see the molecules. So I wanted to show you that. And then, so those are just some STEM tools that you can use with it. And that is a fairly recent development, those STEM tools. So does anybody have any questions about those? Can you see where, to me, the engagement piece on this is huge. Both you showing students and students being able to engage with their work. So I could, now they can take molecules and move them around, and they can draw their math out. And so I just think that engagement piece, but also the representation piece, for you to be able to represent it in various ways for students, and for them to be able to represent it in various ways. I just think from a UDL standpoint, there's a lot of really nice features with EquatIO. So the next thing I do want to show you is I want to show you the screenshot reader, and that can actually be used on any It can be used on a PDF. I'm going to see, I did not try this beforehand, and I'm not sure this is a clear enough rendering, but I'm just going to see if we can't get it to work on this. So there's our screenshot reader, and that was an image.
3 times open paren 1 plus p close paren equals negative 5 times open paren p plus 1 close paren.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you that I think is really cool. And I'm glad it was clear enough, because you can see this isn't the most clear rendering of that picture. But I took a picture of a worksheet. So I had a physical worksheet. I took a picture of it with my iPad. I could have done it with my phone. And then it's on my piece of paper. So at this point, with the screenshot reader, my student, or whoever, could highlight it with a screenshot reader. It automatically read it to them. So if they need to hear it read, they can hear it again.
3 times open paren 1 plus p close paren equals negative 5 times open paren p plus 1 close paren.
So that's cool. They can hear it read. If you click the more options, the 3 little dots, you have the option to copy it to LaTeX or to MathML. So that would be for people who need to copy it for higher level math. But what I really want to show you is paper worksheet, student copies it with a mobile device, and now they can edit it with EquatIO, and it copies that problem down here. So that student who needed to copy that onto a separate piece of paper no longer needs to copy this onto a separate piece of paper, because EquatIO put that right there in there for them. And now they can solve it right here. So they can say 3 plus 3p equals negative 5p minus 5. And then they can go on and solve it like I showed you how you can solve it. And then they can insert it directly onto their paper. So I think that is a really cool feature, that now you have that, that inaccessible worksheet that just became accessible to that student digitally. So that, and the way I did that was just to make a copy and bring it into my open document. So, and I have a question. So, oh, somebody said they love the STEM tools. Thanks, I do too. I thought those were really cool. So, yeah, so I wanted to show you this because this is another way we can get to worksheets. And then you can actually make a worksheet in a Google form, and your student can do EquatIO right within the Google form. I don't know if that one video I showed you that they can actually do it right there on the Google form. But here's a way you could do it if you just have a physical paper worksheet. So I wanted to show you that. And so does anybody have any questions? Is there something I haven't shown you that you want to see? You can either say it or put it in the chat. And I'm just going to very quickly look at my notes and make sure that I am showing you everything I wanted to show you. This is an hour-long recording on how to do math textbook conversions. And it was actually an accessibility specialist from a Colorado university talking to somebody from TextHelp who is she actually needs to do the conversions for students who have visual impairment, and how what I just showed you with the textbook has made her life so much easier, and how she can do those conversions so easily. And she actually converts them then to MathML that can be read by a screen reader easier. I do want to mention that you can use NVIDIA with EquatIO. I don't tend to use screen readers. That is just not something. When I was an AT specialist, we actually had teachers of the visually impaired who did most of that. So I didn't do as much with screen readers. And when I looked at it, I thought, I had lots of questions of how that is as helpful as I had hoped it would be. So I would encourage you to check it out if that is something, if you're needing to use it with screen readers. And then if there's ways it can be improved, I am telling you, TextHelp is very responsible. Most of these features that you have seen are because people have asked for them. So they really are responsive. And the fact that they're starting to make it so that it works with NVIDIA makes me think, I think I'm saying that right, the screen reader and the NVDEA. So they really are responsive to that. So I would just encourage you, if you have some input, to give that back to them. So does anybody have any questions up to this point or want to see anything in particular? And I'm not seeing anything else. Let me just check. I'm not seeing anything else. I want to show you one other thing, is that screenshot reader can actually read math out on the web. So I did not know if we'd have time, and I didn't pull up a website that has it, but I believe if I go back here to the EquatIO website, we might actually just find some. So this is their website that talks about Math Made Digital, and you can try EquatIO free. Educators get it free. They get the premium version free, and you get not just a trial. Your students will get the premium version as a trial, and I believe it's for 30 days. And then you'll have to decide if you want to pay for the premium or just stay with the free. And they do have, the free one has some of the features, but not like MathSpace is part of the premium. So, and you can do so many handwritings. I think the speech, at one time the speech was going to be free. I think they were going to keep that free. That's one of the things that, might change as time goes on. So that's the only reason I'm hesitant to say it's for free for sure. It was free. And I forgot to check with you what was the free now and what was premium. I'm sorry about that. But you can try it for free for the whole premium one. What I wanted to show you is, if we can find some math here, that the screenshot reader in EquatIO will actually work on a web page, and you can pick out a web page. And I'm not sure why. If I go back to my document, you could go to a web page and use it. And now I'm not seeing how I can do that. But so I apologize for that, because you could use it and take off of, if you bring in a web page, I guess you need to bring it in and then do it. And so, but it reads inaccessible text. And so when it's a picture like you saw, it would read it as math. So that's, if you made a copy of a web page, if you did a screenshot part of it, and then you went with the screenshot reader, you could read that. So, so I think that is what I had for you. If nobody has any questions, I just was going to show you, I do have on each of the pages, I have different resources, and then I have a list of resources for you here. One of the other things I have is that I do with all of my math ones is I show you, I just have made a list over the years of math resources, and I just make that available to you. So it has websites, and it has software, and it has, I list EquatIO and Kami for math and OneNote Math Tools under other. And then it has a list of apps divided into elementary and secondary. I try to keep this updated, and I give you a link to it. If you have any that you would like to add to it, please let me know, because this is not just me. This is a working document that people add to, people let me know. I used to have teachers pay teachers on here, but then somebody told me that some school districts don't allow their teachers to use it. So then I took it off. But if it's something I should put back on, let me know. And so really this is a compilation from people sharing with me sharing out to people. But I do give you a link to that. So I don't know if, oh, it looks like we have another question. Okay, you're welcome. And then I thought I would just end really quickly with one more video from TextHelp that I think it's just a nice overview of what I've told you, but they're trying to do it a little bit from a student perspective. So I thought I would just end with that if nobody has any questions. So I need to pull it back here. Okay.
Hey, so if you'd like to become a math master like me, it's really easy. Just use EquatIO. You can recognize EquatIO anywhere by this blue diamond. Click on it and it opens up your math toolbox, in school or at home. EquatIO is a toolbar which sits right here at the bottom of the screen. I'm using Google Docs to show you, but you can use it in lots of other places too. The thing I really like about EquatIO is that there's lots of different ways I can complete homework and activities. I just need to click on Insert Math and I can add my formulas. I can speak the math into EquatIO. I can also use the handwriting tool to write what I'm thinking onto the screen. Or when I really feel like a math whiz, I can type math like a real pro using a prediction tool to help me get formulas and symbols right the first time. It's also got a built-in library of things I can access, like formulas for volume or area, gravity or acceleration, or the quadratic equation. I get access to all of those through the More button, or even just by starting to type the first few letters of what it is I need. Sometimes I prefer to just write math on paper, but I still have to return it digitally. Using the mobile icon, I can just pick up my phone, take a photograph of my written work, and press the Insert Math button. So it takes everything I've written and puts it right into the document, on my computer or Chromebook. I can also fix any mistakes EquatIO might have made when it's been reading my handwriting.
Oh, there you go. You can correct it.
EquatIO is not just about math and numbers. There's also this really cool graphing tool to help you visualize data. You just need to click on the graphing button and start typing your math into the box, and EquatIO will plot the lines on the graph for you. You can change the color of your graph too, to suit you. And there's stuff in here for science too. Check this out. There's a periodic table for chemistry, so I can learn more about the elements I'm studying in science class. I just need to click on the periodic table button, and it'll also show me the atomic number of the element, in case I need that too. You know how our teachers are always telling us it's as important to show you're working out as it is getting the right answer? Well, EquatIO helps you do that too. When you click on Insert Math, use the Enter key to start a new line of your answer. You can add all your working out by either speaking into your mic, handwriting, or typing, and EquatIO captures it all for you. Oh, and those math quizzes that your teacher sends out for you to do, EquatIO even works there too. So you can answer the questions whatever way is easiest for you. Tap on the Insert Math icon, and you can add your answer and work the same way as before. EquatIO also has a feature called MathSpace, which gives me access to lots and lots of different shapes that I can use for answering or exploring math questions and problems. But more about that in another video. So, if you want to make your math classes and homework more interesting and easier to understand, check out EquatIO. Remember, just look for the blue diamond and you'll be a math master like me in no time.
So I thought that was a great video. If you want to share it with your staff or other people, basically in 3 minutes and 8 seconds, she just did my webinar. So, and yes, you can correct it when you do the mobile. So I was glad to see that. I thought so. I probably honestly wasn't patient enough because this is going through the internet. So when I tapped it, it didn't come up right away so that I could switch it. So, thank you. And I hope you find this helpful. So, and if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or email me. And I hope you all have a great day.